Hi there, Sandra here. Today I'm going to be doing a three-dimensional pop-up building. I'd say house, but you could use it as a house, as a shop, as a shack, whatever. You know, it's just a building. Make it into whatever you feel like. Now, because I'm doing this design from scratch, I have gone slightly overboard in the design of it. And with the roof, I have actually done some dry embossing with a stencil that I designed. This is exactly the same size as the roof, and it's done a great job of putting this kind of fish scale come tile effect on it. I really like it. I think it just adds an extra bit of something to the design. So since I've done that, I thought, ooh, I've got a brick stencil, and then I looked at it and my brick stencil wasn't quite large enough, so I have just cut another brick stencil. I'm going to emboss it in my Gemini. You can use whatever embossing machine you happen to have. Now, the sandwich I'm using is the base plate, silicone mat, the card, my stencil. I'm going to cover it with the plastic plate and then the other top piece. When you're doing this, if you're doing a brick design, make sure that you do line it up with a straight edge, because otherwise it's going to look very strange when you take it out and you discover your bricks are at an angle. Okay. So other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And I've made it big enough that it will go all the way over that particular cutout, because I didn't want to mess around with doing it in bits, because that's far more difficult. I'm just going to put this sandwich together, and then it's going to go through my embossing machine. So we have these two pieces. Now, there was actually a score line on there, but you can't easily see it now. And that goes from that corner to that corner there. So I've just glued the two sections together, and I haven't glued this edge yet. But I want to fix something in the base first of all. I have these two pieces here which are going to be the spring mechanism to make this pop up. So these pieces are very simple. You just fold them in half in the middle. It's like an M shape or a W if you put it up the other way. And all that needs to happen is that you put one of these, just put some glue on either side, and you want to put it over that seam there. Now the other one needs to go on the opposite corner diagonally, so it needs to go on this one. Okay, so spread that over, and I'm going to put it directly over that seam line there. And let it dry. It won't affect the way that you decorate the other side, because this is going to fold flat, assuming you've got it lined up properly. I could, if I want to, put this in place as well on one side. I can't put it on both because I won't be able to put it out completely flat, but I could put it onto one side, so I can do that. And then that one is going to be stuck on this side of the building, and then that's going to close it, and then that just gets glued onto the top there. To add a little bit of extra detail to my building, I'm using what is an almost dry ink pad and a brush, just to add a tiny amount of shading on the edges. So I'm going down the crease lines along the base and under the roof line, just all around the edges here. Now I'm doing this under artificial light, so you can actually see it better. In daylight you can barely see this at all, but at the moment, because the sun is coming in from here, if I have my window open, you can't see what I'm doing very easily. So that's why I've done it that way. So I've got my door and my windows on. Now I do have more windows cut out. Don't throw them away if you've got excess, just store them in an envelope and label them, because you'll probably find you're doing something similar at a later date and you can use them. I've put my elastic band across here. As you can see, I've got a few knots in it because it was a little bit loose, so I've just put a few knots in until I got it to the right size. That's fine. It is now sitting nice and square when I've got it open, and now I can put my glue on this flap here. Make sure you glue up to that creased edge and line it up so that it's centered. So I finished this one. I decided to make it a B&B, and it pops up just like that. So I've got a little hanging basket with some flowers in it. I've got an anchor here because it's called the Anchor B&B. I've got a little sign. The little sign you stick together, there's two pieces, you stick it together and you just divide it at the base to go on a corner. I've got a little black cat sat in the window. I have completely recolored these bits. Now I don't recommend that you do it the way that I did it, because I put it all on here and then decided I wanted to make it black. I did it all with an alcohol marker and I was holding my breath as I did it, hoping I wouldn't make a complete and utter mess of it. On this side we have a little flower box with a black cat hiding amongst the plants. And on the back we have a ship's wheel because it's called the Anchor. It's a nautical theme. I've just got some plants here in the window box. And there we go. It is done. So it folds flat like that to go in the envelope and then springs up when you take it out. Now you can do whatever kind of design you like for this, but this mechanism, the way the box works, the sizing of the roof, I've done all that for you. You can put whatever windows, whatever doors you want, whatever decorations you want to make it your own, to make it whatever type of design you fancy. From a fishing shack, a B&B, a fashion shop, a florist shop, anything you like. So if you've got lots of little tiny dies that you sometimes use for cars but you've not really got a great use for, you might find that something like this is something that you can use them for. It could be a bridal shop, could be anything. This one would be quite nice for someone setting up their own business, or for someone who's going away for a little break for their birthday or something. The other thing I did was I designed this little stand so that you could write a greeting on here, be it happy birthday or whatever, and that could go with your box card like so, instead of having it actually written on the card itself. That does a couple of things. If someone wants to re-gift your design, they can do so because there's nothing actually written on it. And let's face it, if you make something that people really appreciate, sometimes people like to pass it on. It's just a nice thing to do. Give someone else some pleasure from it. So there we are, that is it, that's my make. I will include all the various bits that I've got on here in the design file below. Just pick and choose what you want out of it. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to click on the bell because otherwise you don't get notified either. Thanks for watching, see you soon.